And I'll tell you what you are, all of you. You're unconscious criminals. There is a crime which is not on any law books. No one has ever been sent to prison for it. No one has ever been arrested for it. No one ever has a police record over it. There is a crime which is invisible, which is committed by everyone on earth, including you. And you follow what you're going to hear tonight, and if you follow it, and then make the determination, as I said a minute ago, that you're going to go without thinking about it, without asking questions. You ask questions knowing not what you ask. Let me tell you what this invisible crime is. It is called self-abandonment. Well, look at you seated here tonight. Look at you listening to me. Have you not abandoned yourself? Of course you have. You've abandoned yourself to drifting. There's 1,000 ways. You've abandoned yourself to a hardened heart. You've abandoned yourself to religious hypocrisy. You've abandoned yourself to fighting internally. You've abandoned yourself to the utterly stupid pleasure of criticizing. That's what you do all day long. You criticize one thing or another and you don't see it, and that is your crime. You have abandoned yourself to delusion, to nonsense, and you've abandoned yourself to psychological fire. Why? Well, very, very simply, and then we'll go on. Because you won't listen to anything but your own mind. You talk to yourself, give yourself nonsense, foolish lunacies. You talk to yourself, and then you listen to yourself and say, that's great. And the reason you call it great because it is all about you. Oh, how sad that the only thing you know is yourself. How sad that you indeed are the center of your universe. Everything flows out from you, and you get angry and hateful and frustrated if everything doesn't flow into you. These teachings, these truths, these ideas that we're talking about are far closer than you can imagine. They're closer than the own clothing you wear. And I'll prove it to you right now. And here's where the religious hypocrites and the philosophical hypocrites and all the other kind of hypocrites part company with what is truth. And you'll see why when I tell you this. One way in which you abandon your life, you don't care about it. You don't care about your life. You care to preserve your sickness, which you call life. Imagine a patient in a hospital sick, and he calls that being healthy. There is no difference. You are all in the hospital. Now, I want to give you very specifically and detail it a little bit. One way in which you abandon yourself, your real nature, abandon the possibilities that you have of being new and different. Listen to this. You're going to think it's too simple. You're going to say, where's the spiritual teaching? You don't know how spiritual this is. One of the ways in which you abandon yourself is wanting to talk to someone. Now, just take a few minutes to let that sink in. It's too close, you don't see it. It's so close, you can't see it. You are it, that's why you don't see it. You want to talk to someone. Stop! You want to brag to someone. You want their company. This is your self-abandonment. Because if you didn't talk to them, you'd have to stay home within yourself and see what you're really like. And do you know that weakness has no consideration for anyone else? Do you know that weakness has no conscience, therefore you have no conscience? Oh, I know. You never thought about the word for a long time, maybe. But I'm telling you right now, you have no conscience. And that ties in very directly with what I'm talking about. You abandon yourself simply by wanting to be with other people and talk with other people in order to distract yourself from the mess that you are. And you have no conscience and no decency because you don't care about the people you approach and talk to and get involved with. You don't care about them. Having abandoned your own life, you abandon them too. You don't care about them because you don't care about yourself. You have nothing worthwhile in your life. So how can you have any worthwhile thoughts toward them? And so you blab in their ear and you bore them. And you talk about yourself, of course. What else are you going to talk about? When you're the only person who exists in the universe, what else are you going to talk about? And no matter how cunningly you camouflage it, think you're talking about the other person, it is you doing the talking. You're the center of the whole thing. You think you're talking about the other person, you're talking about your relationship to them, how they might benefit you or how you can find some way to keep from them harming you. And so you spend your life abandoning yourself by talking to other people. You remember one time we had a sentence in one of my booklets, which went something like, did it ever occur to you that the other person doesn't want to hear what you had to say? That is meaningless to you. What do you care how you're affecting them? You've got all this pressure in you. You've got all this hatred in you. You've got all this anger in you. That volcano is an awful lot of pressure, doesn't it? And it wants to force itself out and express itself. Which lying human beings call marriage. Which they call a nice conversation in a friendship. The exchange of ideas. The world is mad! So-called statesmen get together and lean on each other and talk to each other, all for the purpose of relieving their own pains and pressures and hoping that they can convince each other and themselves that they know what they're talking about, which they can never do because they don't. No wonder peace conferences turn to wars. Never mind the international scale. Start with a little personal world that you live. Watch how your legs and your mouth want to go approach someone else and start talking to them for whose benefit your own. You spot someone and you head for them. If you can't find anyone, you'll turn your attention back on yourself and talk to yourself and listen to yourself. So society is a society of leaners. You have nothing of value to give anyone you talk about, except on the everyday basis of exchanging information about manufacturing, about running the home. That is legitimate, of course. I'm talking about psychology. I'm talking about neurosis. I'm talking about blabbermouthery, in which you're so miserable and you have abandoned your life so thoroughly that the only thing you have left is to go up and talk to someone and try to drag them down to your own level, and shame on you if you have any shame left in you. You may be so far gone that you don't even have a sense of right shame when I tell you that you have it. All you have is anger at hearing the truth about yourself. So the world is a world of leaners. Everyone hoping they can get through the next half hour, maybe at the end of the half hour, finding someone else to lean on, something to hang on to so they won't collapse. This is the whole world I'm talking about. Everybody does the same thing. You do it to other people and they do it to you. And you call it noble things. Imagine a sidewalk down a busy street. And all along the sidewalk for miles are leaning posts. Just a post. And they're set 50 yards apart. Every 50 yards a leaning post. And everyone who walks down that street walks between the posts. And when he gets to one, he leans on a little while. Just as you lean on people. And I hope that some of your burden will shift off onto them. And you don't have any decency to stop that. And you don't have the intelligence to stop it so you can see you have the burden so that something higher than you can rid you of the burden. And so the man walks down the street and he leans against the leaning post. And he looks at the next one 50 yards away and he's scared, isn't he? You know, I hope I can make it to the next one. He wishes they were 25 yards apart. And if he could change things, he would. He'd make them 5 feet apart if he could. So he looks terrified down at that next post and he starts walking fast and he staggers and he falls down. And he gets up and he's out of breath, and when he gets there, he leans against him. And he pauses, feeling a little bit rested. And looks at the next one, staggers, falls down, and reaches the next. This is the story of her life. It's no different from that. Going from one person or one idea, one religion, one TV show, one excitement, hoping you can make it to the next one before you collapse. Well, haven't I told you the truth tonight? You know I've told you the truth, 100%. Do you want it, or do you want to lie and say that you don't live that way? Don't lie to me. So this is the way it is. All right. Having discovered that this is the way it is, we can do something about it. And you'll understand with a little clear thought what I'm talking about when I say the way to get rid of the dependency upon the post and learn to walk all alone is to put the leaning post farther apart, a little bit farther apart every day. During the break, you watch how you head right for the next leaning post, whatever it is. Losing yourself in your precious little notes. You only half read the words anyway, don't you? You're looking down at them. You don't read them, do you? They don't make sense to you because your mind isn't on them, right? Walking out there and talking to someone. I challenge you. I encourage you. And I tell you, it's the one chance you have for being a different kind of a man or woman than you are here tonight. And you're all messes, every one of you, every single one of you. There's no exception. The one chance you have is to listen to what you're hearing and obey what I just said, to little by little every day put the leaning post a little farther apart. Dare to be without the next one so that you're forced to build your own strength. You know one of your favorite leaning posts? It's called anger, or variations of that. It's called irritation. It's called snarling, because you're afraid. By the way, do you know that? Do you know that you never snarl and scowl unless you are afraid? And the reason you're afraid is because you're apart from reality. Therefore, you were lost. Therefore, you have abandoned yourself. I want all of you to remember, from now on, wherever you go in this world, the following phrase, so that it'll help you within yourself and with other people, if you want the truth. If you don't, you won't even hear what I'm saying. Here it is. Anger is always a giveaway, right? Oh, there are no exceptions. You'll never find it. Go ahead and lie about it. You won't succeed. If you are angry, you are wrong. I don't care what you're angry at. That's your excuse. The target means nothing. It's the pleasure you get from being angry, then you find the target afterward, which is the nearest person.